a first class honor graduate in physics, graduated with a 3.97 over 4.0 from the University of Ibadan, recognizing as his best additional student of both the Faculty of Science and the Department of Physics of the 2024/2025 session. A three-time recipient of the Dean's Medal of Honor, he achieved top scores across core physics and mathematics courses, including electromagnetism 98, mathematics method 94, wow, and geometric and mechanism 97. I'm sure you're already feeling it like, oh wow, 97 was okay. So I was the first runner up in the interfaculty physics competition. His academic excellence has been supported by several prestigious scholarships, including the Mathematics MTN Foundation Scholarship, Bovas Foundation Scholarship, Federal Government Bursary Scheme Scholarship, Egbon Odudua INC of South Florida Scholarship, and the David Dixon Educational Foundation Scholarship. Along this record of academic distinction, Adeoye Thomas has demonstrated strong leadership and a consistent commitment to peer mentorship. He served as a volunteer tutor in the Peer Assisted Student Tutor Program, delivering free physics tutorials to fellow students, and held the role of academic coordinator for the National Association of Physics Students (NAFCUI). He also served full-time as academic coordinator of the Christ Apostolic Church Student Association. With a joy in our hearts and with honor in our hearts, we welcome to the podium, yeah, let me say to the stage, our brother, Mr. Adeoye Thomas. It's nice to hear from you, sir. You can take on, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much, bro. Promise, bro. Peace, rather. Yeah, thank you, bro. Peace. I'm honored, and thanks to everyone that have been reacted to what was read. And yeah, so to begin with, I'm so happy to be here, and it's a privilege to be invited for this kind of webinar. So thank you, Sister Busayo. Thank you, Bro Peace, for the opportunity. And to everyone who have joined, I say thank you for listening as well. So without wasting our time at all, I would want us to commence. And yeah, can someone just let me know if you can see my slides? Okay, yeah, thank you for that. And yes, I would love to keep my camera on as well, so that if I try to demonstrate, you can see my hand. Yeah, I'm a teacher, I'm a tutor, and I know that demonstration is part of. Yes, can you hear me now? Hello. Oh, yeah, thank you. Yeah, my network, something bad happened to it, but thank God I'm back. Okay, good. So, um, this is what I'll be talking about: a smarter way to study and understand physics. Okay, and yeah, I would love to put it this way. I would love to say this is one of the ways to study and understand physics. I believe there is no such a thing as um, just okay the way. It's not just one way. I believe there should be some other ways that people can, you know, use to study and understand physics. But this is actually something personal. These are the things I did which actually worked for me. Okay, so it is just a way, it is just one of the ways. Of course, we know Jesus is the way. Okay, so and the first thing I'll talk about here is the question: why does physics feel difficult? Why do we um, find it difficult to understand physics? Why is it that at times we find it frustrating to comprehend concepts in physics? Okay, so one of the things that can actually make physics to be difficult is yeah, teaching. If you don't have a good teacher, if the teacher is either not good at teaching or the teacher is either not good at the subject, these are two things. The teacher may not be good at teaching, and at times it may be that the teacher is not good at the subject. So if a student should sit under this kind of a teacher, then the course will appear to be difficult. Okay, another thing that can make physics to feel difficult is if there is a knowledge gap. If it happens that a teacher introduces a new topic to you, there are some topics that are prerequisite to them. I mean, we have some topics in physics that there are some topics that should have been taught before you can proceed to those topics. So if there is a fault, I mean, if it happens that a student has not taken or has not understood the prerequisite courses or the prerequisite topics now before moving to a new one, then this can be a problem. And this is exactly what I'm going to center my talk on. I mean, the fact that it happens that most time there is a knowledge gap. Most times the foundation of knowledge that the student has is actually not enough. It is shallow. Okay, so building on that kind of foundation will pose a challenge. Okay, so in the next slide, as you can see, first unlock, know where you are coming from. Okay, as a student in tertiary institutions, as a student in your first year, it is always good that when you go to a class, let's be practical. Let's assume you go to a physics class and the course title is electricity and electromagnetism. Okay, so the first thing you want to do, the first thing I always do is that I was always doing then, because I'm now a graduate. So when I was in school as a first year student, if they introduced to me, if I was introduced, like if they should introduce a new topic to me, the first thing I would do is that once I get back to my hostel, I go back to my O-level textbook. It's always good to go back to the basics. It's always good to go back to where you are coming from. So let's assume the lecturer wants to teach electricity, or the lecturer wants to teach electric field. Electric field is a topic which must have been taught to any undergraduate student in their secondary school, in their high school. In fact, if I'm to get it right, it is an SS1 topic. So it is still in your textbook. Then what is expected of you as a student is to go back to your O-level textbook, just do a quick read through of that aspect of the topic in your O-level physics. Or it may be that you go back to your notes if you have a good note. If you do this, this is going to help you a lot. It helps you to build a gap if there is any. And more often than not, there is always a gap. Okay, so it will not be good that you are doing waves as a course, maybe waves and optics, and your foundation, your O-level knowledge is not solid enough. So whatever it is that the lecturer is saying, whatever it is that the teacher is saying, you will not be able to capture, or you may not be able to fully understand, and the student can even get frustrated. It's because you don't really know where you are coming from. That is why it is something that is important, not just for physics. It could be any other course. It's always good to go back to the O level. it's always good to go back to, okay, where am I coming from? There are many of the courses that you are going to be taking your first year. So most of them, they are things that they expect you to have been taught before in your secondary school. So that's why it's always good to, go back to where you are coming from. This was one of the things I did, and to the glory of God, it's actually worked for me. Okay, now moving on. Okay, this is a typical O level question. Okay, this is a typical O level question. Um, are we familiar with this question? Has any of us come across with a question like this before? Is a question under electricity. I think the UI students here, you guys are taking electricity as a course now. So if you are familiar with this question, can you signify? Don't worry, I won't ask you to solve. But if you are familiar, I just want to know if we have people who are familiar with this course, with this topic, yeah, in particular. Oh, good. I think I see someone there who signified. Okay, yeah, this is a typical O-level question, and the question we have 2 point charges. Q1 equals to 5 micro coulomb. Good, thank you. And we have Q2 is equals to -10 microcoulomb. They are placed 20 centimeter apart. Now the question says find the magnitude of the force between them. This is a kind of question on Coulomb's law that can be found in O-level textbooks. And trust me, this kind of question too can be found. I'm not so sure if they will ask you this kind of question because it's too cheap. The question says find the magnitude of the force between them. It's actually too cheap. So because of that, they may not give you this kind of question as a college student or as a university student. Okay, but if you can solve this, then it's a good place to start. Now I'll show you another question, which is a typical college question. This is a typical O-level question, secondary school question. Now look at this one. This is a typical A-level question. This is the kind of question that lecturers want to give to you because it's a little bit more challenging compared to the first one. Now, can someone either unmute or type in the chat box? You can use the chat box. I want you to tell me the difference between this question, this one that I said is a typical A-level question, and the one that I said is a typical O-level questions. The differences between the two. Let me try to do this. I want it to be 2. Yeah, this is the first one, the typical O-level. Let me give you time to read the one of the typical A-level. And you can use the chat box, or you can just unmute your mic and tell me what is the difference, or if you observe more than one difference, what are the differences between this one and the previous question. So I'm waiting. I'm waiting. Oh, I didn't ask you to solve. Just tell me what difference did you observe, difference between this question and the first one. And if you want me to show you the first one, please let me know. Someone talking already? Yeah, someone said it's more complex. Yeah, that's great. It's actually more complex. Yeah, it's more complex compared to the first one. The first one is straightforward. Yeah, it's just the kind of questions that you solve by, you write out the unknown, write out write out the known, the given parameters, then you write out the unknown, write the equation, plug in the values, then you are there. Okay, unlike this one. So this one is more complex. Any other contribution? One more person so that I can move on. The first question is straightforward. Yeah, thank you. Let me come this. And the second question is Yeah, we have to understand the basics before solving. Yeah, bravo. I love this. This is a good response. Yeah, this is very true. The first one is straightforward. The second one, you have to understand what is happening. It's not just plug in the values and start solving. Another thing I would like to mention is that the first one, they ask you to calculate the magnitude, just the magnitude. They are less concerned about the direction. And force is a vector quantity. So before you can completely solve problems that involve force, you have to indicate the magnitude and the direction. But the second one, you are expected. I mean, the question also says that, I mean, it involves direction. Yeah, you have to understand how to play around that as well. Good. Yeah, that's a very good one. And so the second thing we are going to talk about here is understand the basics. You know, someone said in the response that the second question involved that you understand the what? The basics. And this is where it's one of the most challenging, or one of the things that students find challenging as a first year student. Of course, not all students. Okay, we'll still talk about that later. So understand the basics. Understand. Don't just memorize. For the first question I show you, I mean the one I showed to you, that's typical O-level question. You can just memorize the formulas, and you know when the question appear, you plug in the values and you are done. But trust me, for the second one, it will never work that way. There is a need for you to understand what is going on. What is this thing all about? I mean, it involves you understanding the basics. So now, as a physics student, don't just, or as a student that's taking physics course, don't just master formulas. It will not work. Trust me, it will not always work. Okay, let me just put it that way. It will, in fact, more often than not, it will not work. Mastering formula, it's always good to understand the formula you are trying to master. Of course, you have to, at times you have to cram some formulas, but it's always good to understand how the formula works. And thank God to AI this time around. You can just take a screenshot of a formula and ask AI to explain, or you read textbooks, or you ask from people. So don't just, physics goes beyond a collection of equations. So in fact, as a first year student, you have to move beyond cramming formulas to understanding how the relationship between the quantity among the quantities now in the formula. Okay, look, for instance, look at this formula now. This is a very popular formula in electricity. Force, the magnitude of a force, equals to K, which is the constant of proportionality, multiplied by the magnitude of charge Q1, the magnitude of charge Q2, all divided by R, where R is the square of the distance between the 2 point charges. So beyond cramming this equation or this formula, it is expected of you to understand what is happening. You need to know what happens to the magnitude of the force if I should increase the square of the distance between them. You need to know what happened, or what will happen to the to the force, the magnitude of the force, if I should reduce the distance between the 2 point charges. Like what happens to the magnitude of the force if the point charges are, they are very close, and what happens to the magnitude of the force if they are far apart. I mean very far apart. So these are the things you want to know. These are the things you want to understand. Okay, and there is a question here. Like this kind of questions now requires understanding. We have two charges. They are placed at a fixed distance apart. If the distance between them is halved, you can see the force between them becomes what? So it's just this equation you are going to use. So this distance now, if this distance is halved, then what is going to happen to the force between the 2 point charges? This is the kind of question that actually requires understanding. But trust me, this first question I'm showing is still a bit straightforward, because JAM can actually set this kind of question. So this kind of question in particular, JAM can send it. They can sell this kind of, you may have, some of you might have come across something like this before. Okay, so but now moving on, let's look at another one. This is another one. This one is a bit complex, at least more complex. It's not as straightforward as the first one. And this is the kind of question they will ask you in as a first year student. This kind of question requires that you truly understand. It requires that you don't just cram. So you want to understand. And someone that want to understand will ask questions. Will not just take equations and cram them. The person will ask questions. The person will solve questions. The person will be, you see it in this person that, no, this person really want to understand this thing. And that is one of the things that can help you to excel as a physics student or as a student offering physics as a course. And I think this applies in some other disciplines too. Okay, so now let's move on to the foundation gap cycle. Okay, when you encounter a problem or when you come across a new topic, the first thing you want to do is you want to revisit your O level. You want to go back to where you are coming from. Okay, and after that you try to understand the basics, then you build on a solid foundation like that. Okay, so now the next thing I have here is do not study alone. Yeah, don't be ashamed of asking for help. You know, I say that it is expected of you to understand the basics, and at times understanding the basics may be quite challenging due to knowledge gap, due to the fact that as a first year student, all of you did not attend the same secondary schools. Some schools are more standard compared to another. So it is I mean, we have students who attended one of the best secondary school in Nigeria, and we have students who actually, like for myself, my school was one of the worst actually. I'm sorry to say, but that was what I passed through as a secondary school when I was in secondary school. Okay, so now coming to UI, I met people who came from standard private schools. We have people who came from federal government secondary schools. These people are good. Okay, so it is expected of you to ask for help. That thing that you have been struggling to understand for days, there are people, there is just this one person, either in your class or in another department offering the same course with you, that will not take him more than 10 minutes to demystify or to explain that thing to you. It's something that I've experienced. I told you this, the structure of my talk today actually go in line with my experience. Okay, so I never studied alone. I was always asking for help. There was this course I took in my first year as an undergraduate student. In the second semester, it's MTH. No, we call it math then. MAT one word. Yeah, I'm sorry, I forgot. We did math 121 and math 111 in first semester. Then we did math. I forgot, but it's about geometric something kind of. Yeah, I'm sorry, I forgot the. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, thank you. It is math 141. Yeah, thank you. So this particular course, math 141, MAT 141, I found it when I was in after our first semester during the holiday period. You know, I was in several groups. I joined those groups to be asking for help. My colleagues know me that, okay, this guy, he was always asking for help, in the sense that I'll send the question, ask them to help me solve. Okay, so people had started, before we resumed second semester, is a second semester course, people have started reading, so they had started sending questions on the group. As you know, it used to happen, people will be sending questions on the group and that person will pick it up and solve. So these people started solving the questions, I couldn't solve those questions. I found them quite challenging. But what was I doing? I'll pick the question, send the question to not one person, not two persons, at times three persons, three different persons. These people were my colleagues. I mean, they were my mates. So we entered the same year, but I know them to be very good, very, very good. So I'll send the questions to them. They'll send the solution. And what would I do? I'll document the solution. Write the question, then write the solution. I'll now go and read. After I'm done reading, I'll go back to the question, solve the question, compare their solutions to mine, and make the necessary corrections. So this was what I was doing for this particular course, Math 1 form. I found it challenging. When I resumed, I was attending tutorials. I was still asking for help. It happened that when the result came out for this particular course, I had 97. In the test, I had 37. In the exam, I had 60. My friends, those people, yeah, thank you for that. Those people that were I was asking questions from, they were confused. They thought I was, lying to them, that I didn't understand the course. And truly, I found the course very challenging. But I leveraged on the fact that there are people who understand this thing around me. So why should I kill myself when my roommates, when my classmates, or when my level whatever, like people that we are in the same level, they understand this thing. So I asked for help. I was never ashamed of asking for help. And when results came out, to the glory of God, I had the highest. Okay, and this is a math course, a mathematics course. It's not a physics course. People expected, it has always been that if there is going to be someone that will score the highest in the course, is that the person is from engineering department or mathematics department. But now it came from physics. And one of the things that worked was that I was asking questions. So don't be ashamed of asking for help. Ask questions. There are people who are good that you can, ask questions from, and this works. I don't lie to you. It truly does. And at times it may not be your mates, it may be your senior ones. You ask them questions as well. Okay? So the next thing here is document your learning. If you learn it, keep it. I laughed at some people. You are studying physics you are reading physics, you are not studying physics. Like you bring out your phone, you are reading through slides, pages of slides, you are flipping through. Some people will even lie on their on their bed, and they lie in their bed and they are there with the phone, scrolling through. What are you doing? I'm reading physics. You are studying physics. That's not studying. You are reading physics. It is not newspaper. You document your learning. You cultivate the habit of going to lectures to take notes. If you go for tutorials, you take notes. If someone solves, one of the things I used to do then was that if people will send questions on the group, another person will solve it. Most of the times, those questions I don't understand them, and I'll just forward the questions I created a WhatsApp group for myself, and it was just myself and my brother who was not offering the course. You can't be the only person on the group, and that person must be there. And the main purpose, the reason why I created the group is so that I can always be sending my questions, the questions that people have solved and the solutions to that group, so that once I'm done, I'll document it, write the question and the solutions. Then we were not really using ChatGPT. That was when I was in 100 level. I think that's 2022. So, but now, thank God, there is AI. You people should leverage that. Gemini is very good when it comes to solving physics problem. When it comes to explaining things, you can use ChatGPT. In fact, you can use both. Okay, so that you can be sure that no, this thing that this AI is solving is actually the solution. So if chat should solve something for you, you document it. So learn the habit of having a personal physics problem solving note. I used to solve like that. There will be questions and the answers. So that during the exams, what I used to do during the exam is I will revise the slides. I will go through the slides again. Then the questions that I've solved before, I'll write the question somewhere again, try to solve them, then compare to the solutions I have. So this is a very good thing to do. Now the complete strategy, I'm done, so that we can move to the question and answer session, is that the step one, always go back. If the topic is new, revisit your whole level. In fact, if the topic is not new, like you want to take topics, you are doing waves and optics now, go back to your O level textbook, read on waves and optics from the O level, then go back to your slides, read your slides. It's going to help. Okay, and the next thing, you should always identify the gap. More often than not, there is always a gap. Okay, and try to understand the concept. And thank God now you can, there is AI. You can use a, if you are trying to read a portion of your slide and you don't understand, take the screenshot, give it to Chat and Gemini, that they should explain in a way that you can understand. And trust me, they will do justice to it. I trust those guys. I use them. They are my friends. So you should try to understand. Do not memorize, okay, before understanding. And the next thing which I've mentioned is learn from others. Okay, you should learn from your lecturers, your classmates, your seniors, and stuff like that. Okay, I think I'm done. So if you have any questions, I'm here. You can either use the chat box or unmute your mic and ask your question.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you,
Sir.
ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. I would have said this is not even just for physics, it's actually for general study. Okay, I think someone asked a question already.
Okay, what if you don't know? Okay, what if someone does not know how to document? Okay, yeah, what I meant by documenting is just, okay, what if you don't, I didn't really get your question, but if what you are trying to say is, what if you don't understand what the person is saying, should you still document? I don't know if that is your question, but if that is your question, I'll try to answer this. So just let me know once I'm done if that's not your question. It happens, it happened to me as an undergraduate student that at times I'll be in a class of like an hour class and I will not understand nothing. At times 2 hours class, I will not understand nothing. But what was I doing then? I would not always, some students make this mistake. And what was the mistakes? They would decide not to attend lectures because if you ask them, why don't you attend lectures? Well, I don't always understand what the man is saying. It is not good. Even if you will not understand, go to that class. Whatever thing that the lecturer is saying, write every single thing down. I do that a lot. At times, I will record. In fact, I still have some recordings of some of the lectures that I attended that I did not understand. If I should record or take note of what the lecturer is saying down, the purpose or the aim of doing that is for me to know the trouble that I am in. I know I'm in trouble already, but I know the kind of troubles I am facing. I know now I have an idea of what to read. Because at times, what the teacher is saying, the reason why I don't understand, it may not be that the teacher is not good. It might be that I'm the one that does not have the prerequisite knowledge that I need to have possessed. Okay, so what I will now do after I've gotten to know what my problem is that I go back to either the basics or go back to seniors, or now there is charts. Write it down. Write whatever the lecturer is saying there. If it is a slide, note that part of the slide. Give it to AI, and you understand. It's always good to write, even if you don't understand what the lecturer is saying. Because how can you? At times, some people make this mistake. They will go and carry big textbooks and begin to read, and at times they end up reading junks. What do I mean by junks? They read what the lecturers will not ask. they waste their times. I was not the smart student in my first year. I was not in most of these courses that we took. It was not that okay. At first, when we started, there were people who okay. Let me give you an experience. When I was in my first year, I was taking this physics course, physics 102. I was finding it very difficult to understand chapter 2, and I later found out that as at that moment, one of my guys already finished the first 6 chapters because we bought a book, Physics 102. We bought a book. There is this handbook that we bought. This guy has finished the first 6 chapters. So most of the time, it's you are not it's not all of you that will not understand the course or the concept. So you document whatever you are reading, even if you don't understand, so that you can know the kind of questions to ask. Yeah. But if that's not your question, let me know. Okay, like I got it. How to know? I prefer reading, and then that is all. I don't like jotting when reading. Oh, let me talk about this. Actually, you should cultivate the habit of jotting, the habit of note taking. I actually have a book on note taking. Yeah, it's not just note taking that is there. It is I think College Sussex. That is the name of the book. I can share it. Maybe I'll try to send the book to the academic coordinator. You can collect the book from her. So the book talks about note taking. Trust me, I don't know if there is any other shortcut, but it's always good to take notes. Yeah, it is always good to note. The problem is that I prefer to read without taking notes, because if I read without taking notes, I read very fast. You know, I'm not noting anything down. It becomes very easy for me. Easily, I can just finish so many slides. Okay, but the problem, the challenge that someone will have if you don't take notes is how will you? We always forget what we read. There is no how. You always forget what you. If you read something and you understand now, give it some days, give it some weeks. There is tendency, there are chances that one will forget. So it's always easy if someone does not take notes and you read something you forget. If you want to go back to read again, you have to go back to maybe like a big textbooks or the old slides. So why not just take notes? You summarize what you have learned. So it's always easier for me as a student to go back to it's not easy. I won't lie to you, it's not easy to jot, but it's easier in the sense that if I want to revise, and repetition aids retention. Okay, there's another thing you put here. You talk about, I'm coming, let me finish. Going back to the basics, I know it feels overwhelming. Yeah, trust me, going back to the basics feels overwhelming. But what is more overwhelming is the experience of failing a course. What is more overwhelming is the experience that one has. How someone feels if it happens that, okay, after the results, when the result comes out and the person does not feel well. I won't say it's easy. It was never easy for me as an undergraduate student. But because I want to do well, and I don't like the kind of feeling that comes with not doing well as a student, so I choose to rather feel overwhelmed trying to understand the basics. I know it's not that easy when it comes to, okay, you have to truly understand the basics, but you should, as a student, be ready to give it your all, because the joy that comes from that, yeah, I'm sorry, is what should be driving you. Okay, let me answer this question, please. What if the questions don't seem as what you know and what you have learned? How do you go about it in exams? Okay, if I come across it, let me think. If I had come across questions like that, yeah, but the questions, it shouldn't happen that all the questions will feel like what you have. Okay, Does okay, yeah, you shouldn't feel like all the questions will fail or will appear as or like what you have not learnt. Of course, there will be some questions that you'll be familiar with, but at times, if it happens that someone gets to the exam hall and most of the questions don't feel familiar, one of the things that might happen is maybe the person has not read well enough. And at times, we have some situation whereby some lecturers they set what they don't teach. That may be the what's it gonna that may be the reason. Yes, it has happened to me. That lecturers set what they don't teach, but if a lecturer will set what they don't teach, what most lecturer does is that if they are going to give you 10 questions, 8 will be part of what you have been taught. They may now give you 2 questions. They will call it control questions. That it's only for those who read extra miles. It's only for those who have done extra studies. But if you as a student, even though if you don't do extra studies, you stick to the lecturer's notes and the PQ and you have 8 out of 10. So if you are sure of 8, the remaining 2, if it is MCQ, then you guess and pray. Then you hope for the best. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. It seems okay. These steps. Yeah, someone said these steps are not going to be easy. Yeah, actually, you are right. These steps are not really going to be easy. Yeah, you are right. I mean, you see a particular topic, they introduce to you a particular topic, you go back to your O level, you brush through, then you try to understand the basics, you document your yes, you okay, good. Let's be practical now and let's be realistic. Now you guys are in the 6th week and you have 13 week for lectures if I'm to get it right this time around. You can just begin with you have done your first test. I had that because I came to UI on Thursday and I got to know you already did your first test in what's it gonna on Wednesday. Okay, so the new lecturers have taken over. So you are just starting for those new lecturers that have taken over. So you can start that with them. For the ones you've done before, the first lecturer has come, they've taught you their part, they've given you, they've tested you. So the new lecturer are just taking over probably next week. So and as they are taking over, what you do is that, and it's a good thing new lecturers are coming on for physics. So you just begin that with them. Okay, and there is always for people who are in faculty of science, there's always this break, this window of a week before you start your exam. That week you are doing nothing. I mean, unless if some lecturers fix their test in that week. Aside from that, no lectures. These are the times that you can use. Okay, I like what I've said. It was not easy for me as well, but I have a goal, I have a purpose, I wanted to do well, and those things were driving me. And with the fact that I know that I can be overwhelmed by by a bad result. When results come out and you don't get to do well, then this is for some people that actually value education. For some people that really want to use their certificate, they don't feel so good if the results are not looking like it. So these are the things that push or steer me up, push me, keep me going, in spite of the fact that it's not or it was not always easy. Okay, good. Let me attend to this question, please. I think someone already sent another question. Oh God, where is this question? Can you resend the question so that it can pop up? I'm finding it difficult to see the chat box. The person that sent the question just now. Okay. Yeah, also stop. Sorry, can you help me look for the question that was just sent? I couldn't find it.
I was trying to resend it, but I can't. Let me just
Okay.
read it. Said last
Yeah.
semester I read and last semester I read and attended classes and ended up having a B. Sir, what do you think I can do to achieve an A this semester?
Yeah. This
Yeah,
semester,
this
it happens.
it happens.
Yeah, that at times some
Yeah,
people
that at
would.
times some
Oh, coming. Why am I hearing myself? Okay. Yes. So it's like people have said this sometimes, and it can happen. Yeah, it's something that can happen. That's okay. You read, you do all you could, and you actually read. You did your very best, and when the results come out, you have a result that does not commensurate your effort. Yeah, at times it happens. But this semester, what I would advise you is that you should try as much as possible to push harder. Okay, and yeah, you should. If you have people whom you know that okay, these people are good, you can always ask them questions. Yeah, you can always ask them questions, and you should leverage on what's it gonna the use of AI, because at times students read and they don't really understand. They are reading, they are doing their very best, but the truth of the matter at times is that they don't really understand. They thought they did. So that is why I frowned at the fact that they don't release you guys test scores. Suppose I don't know if they did last semester, but suppose last semester now, in your if they had released your test score, what they used to do before is that after your first CA, they release the test score, your second CA, they release the test scores. So at times people made mistakes in their test and they did not know. So they just did the test, did the exams, and when the overall result came, they saw what they don't like. So, but now let's say last semester has gone. This is a new semester, and I believe you must have started reading already. I'll just encourage you to push harder and ask questions, please, so that you can really be sure that okay, you know what you claim to know. Ask questions and leverage on the use of AI and pray too. Yeah, I do that a lot. I mean, we are believers. Yeah, after your exams, you should commit everything onto God's hand. Yeah, and I hope your results are better next semester. I think we ran out of time already. Okay, good. No, 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 no. You shouldn't be like me. You should be a. Every one of us is uniquely created, I believe. Yeah. So, yeah, God is helping us. Thank you for that, but don't be like me, please. Okay, so. No, 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 no. All of us are unique. Yeah, every one of us, we are unique. Just try to, yeah, try to do all these and pray, and I believe that your results will be good. Yeah, I hope all of you have good results at the end of the session. So, Sister Busayo, should I continue with the question? I can
Should
see
I
some other
continue with the
question.
question? I can see some other question. Yeah, is there another question?
Yeah, I see this
Yes.
question
Okay. Yeah, I see
from.
this question from. Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir. You can continue, sir.
Okay,
I'm
thank
so
you.
sorry we are taking thank you more than the desired time.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, it's
So,
fine.
the
So
question says,
the question
oh,
is,
how am I hearing myself?
I
How
hear
long
myself.
can
How
I,
long can I?
how long? Okay. So, how long should a student read
So
to
how
better
long should a student read to
in
better
physics? Or when is the best time to study? Okay.
in this
So,
time to
let me start
study? Okay.
from
So
what is
let
the
me start
best time to
from
study?
what is the best time to study?
Okay, you can hear me well.
Okay,
Good.
good.
Okay, we can't. What about now? Okay, let me do that. Can you hear me well now?
Can you hear me well now?
I think I have a challenge here. I
Yes,
can.
sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. So the question now: how long should a student read to better understand in physics, or when is the best time to study? Let me start with when is the best time to study. The best time to study is when you are at your best. Okay, look for instance, some people say, okay, the best time to study is in the night. A student who has a very long day, who has what we call a hectic day. I mean, you are a student, you attended classes, several classes, probably you even went for a lab. I mean, you went to the lab for a lab work, and you are just exhausted. And then the night has come, you still have not rested from the work of the day, and you say you want to read in that night, there may be a problem. Okay, so if as a student you have a very long day and you want to read in the night, then what is expected of you is to take good food, you eat good food and sleep. So let's assume you get back home around 6 and you are tired. If you can cook. If you have money, which is the best thing, buy food from calf. Then after that, you rest. You can sleep around, let's say, 7 to 7:30. You set your alarms and tell your friends to please wake you up. So by, it could be, let's say, from that 7:30, I'm trying to be practical now, you can decide to wake up around 12 or 12:30. If it is 12:30, that will be 8:30, 9:30, 10:30, 11:30, 12:30. Good. This is a 5 hour of sleep. Okay. So if you wake up around that 12:30, all the other things being equal, you should be at your best because you've rested, you've taken some rest. Although some medical people will go against this, I know it has to be longer than that. Yeah, but the time is, at times, even those medical students, they don't they don't sleep that much. Okay, so 5 hours, I'll say this is what's it gonna good. And when you wake up at that 12:30, you should be at your best. I mean, you should be at your best. And if you are not the type that can stay up at night, when you wake up at that time, I think this is one of the best times to study. And for some people, it may not be like that. Some people may prefer um, to read during the day, but the challenge that comes with reading during the day is that as a student, you go for lectures. I mean, you have several, unless if you don't have lecture on that particular day, that you have to stay either in your hostel. If you can only stay in your hostel if your roommates are not talkative. If your roommates are around and they can talk, they can disturb you, then this is a problem. Or maybe you go to a library, perhaps Kennedy Library or your departmental library. Some people prefer to read during the day, they say it works for them, while some people prefer to read in the night, they say it works for them. But I actually believe in the power of the night. I mean, reading in the night or in the early hours of the morning, which is around 3 a.m. down. So, but some people will say, oh, I can't wake up in the middle of the night. I'm not a night person. I don't know. But I think that if you can sleep early and you don't eat heavy before you sleep early, and you have it at the back of your mind, I know I want to wake up in the middle of the night, you will wake up. And when you wake up like that, more often than not, you will be at your best to study. Okay, so that's what I would say to that. And how should they study? How long should a student read to better understand physics? So there is nothing, I don't think there is a time limit. Okay, I can't say it's 30 minutes, but what I would say is that at times someone can you can read for 3 hours, and another person will read for just 1 hour, and that 1 hour person will gain more. What can lead to that is distractions. Imagine you have it in your timetable that you want to study physics for 3 hours. Before you start, you quickly checked your WhatsApp messages, you discover that, oh, some of your 3 friends have sent you messages. You decided to reply the messages. As you are trying to leave WhatsApp, you just discover that, oh, someone uploaded something on his or her status, maybe a friend. You check that, so you leave that and you start studying. Before 10 to 15 minutes, a call came in. You have to pick that. These are distractions. And at times, it may be that you are in your room as you are studying, your friends are coming, they are asking you questions, they are hailing you, or maybe some of them are even trying to whine you, oh, Efiko, something like that. So if you already planned that you want to study for 3 hours, at the end of 3 hours the person will not be able to gain much because of what? Lack of focus. Because of what? Distractions. So no time is too short, I would say. So what you should focus on is that the time you are trying to spend, you are there. Like, I want to study for 1 hour, my phone is on flight mode. Or maybe in case of emergency, maybe you have responsibilities, you put it on do not disturb. And at times 1 hour cannot kill you. I mean, your phone not being available for 1 hour or two as a student, that is your first work, I would say. So you can do without you can even post it on your status in the next 2 hours. I'm unavailable. So quality of the time that you spend is what that matters. I hope I've answered your questions. And another question here is, someone is saying they can't hear me well. I hope we can hear me well now. Okay. So there's a question. If you have money, if you are in a department like, okay, yeah, if you are in a department like math or physics, you'll be advised not to go into something else like business. Not to go, okay, like business. So as to focus attention on studies. Okay. Now, what if your parents aren't financially strong, and as a student you need constant funds? Yes, I agree, students need money. What do you suggest? What I'll suggest is try to what's it gonna to excel academically. Yeah, if you can finish with a good CGPA in your first year and you apply for scholarships, it worked. My parents are not financially strong as well. I didn't come from okay, I wasn't given birth to they used to say, okay, some people were not born with silver spoon. Let me say, me, I wasn't born with any spoon at all. Yeah, but we thank God. But what I'm trying to say is that my parents, who are not financially strong, and my undergraduate studies ran largely on scholarships. Yeah, by the help of God, because I have good academic standing and I was praying, I would say I was gonna won several scholarships. And this covered my feedings. In my third year, my fourth year, I was feeding well. And all thanks to the scholarship bodies, all thanks to I think I won 5 of them. Yeah, about 5 of them. So you can do that as well. Just try to be good. If you have good academic standing, there are a lot of scholarship opportunities that you can have. There are just a lot of them. A lot of them. So that is what I can add, because it can be quite hard to they are right. It can be hard to do the two together. You want to juggle between business and your studies. It can be, and thing is just 4 years. I mean, it's not forever. It was just like yesterday. Now I'm a graduate. Now I'm 7. So it won't be forever. In the next 3 years now, is that you are done or you are almost done. So that is what you should have in mind. Okay, someone I want to, and you can't go back and erase what has happened. I cannot go back now and say, oh, I need 1 point more, add it to my CGPA. No, it doesn't work that way. So it may, as they have said, it may not be, easy for you to combine any of that thing or some other things now with your academics. So, and as for financial issue, just have good academic standing, and you can talk to people around you too. Yeah. You can ask people, talk to people around you. There's nothing bad. We are all students. Good. Okay, is there any other thing? I think we are done. Okay, yeah, word of prayer from friends. Okay, yeah, from friends. Mommy's boy, 300 level students, we no get money. Okay, for 300 level students, like prayer from friends, I didn't really. Okay, I got it. I got what you are saying now. That okay, if you still depend on your mom and you know your friends are praying you that oh 300 level student we no get money. No, this is normal now. Students, as a student, the normal thing is that the norm is that you depend on your parents. But at times it may not work that way. Maybe the parent does not have money. Like my own case now, my parents are not financially buoyant enough. Okay, and as a result of that, I had to source for means. Suppose my parents are financially buoyant, of course, I'm going to be proud about depending on them. We have coppers. Some of my core members, we are coppers together. These people still depend on their parents. They don't know what they are saying. I'm sorry to say. Yeah, there's nothing bad in that. There is nothing bad in you as a student. You are still a student. You depend on your parents. So don't mind them. Okay. I think we are done here.
Yes,
Good.
thank you very much, sir.
Yeah.
Let's
Thank
give
you.
Yeah,
our
thank
speaker
you.
a virtual clap. Please, if you are, I hope we follow though. If you not follow, you missed a lot. Cause even me, I was learning. If you did not follow, you missed a lot. Thank you very much, Bro
Yeah.
Thomas. We are really, really grateful. Thank you for your time. That was really an hour more. Wow. So thank you very much, sir.
Yeah. We thank God.
Yeah, we
I
thank God.
actually I recorded the
I
session.
recorded the session.
I'll send the yeah.
Okay.
I won't forget about the book.
I won't forget about the book.
Okay,
So
yes, sir.
yeah, I'll send
The
you.
college
Send
success, right?
you.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
Okay. I'll send you the link
I'll send you the
to
link
the
to the
record. Maybe some of
record.
your
Maybe
people
some of
that
your
didn't get to
people
make it here
that
can
didn't get
watch.
to make it here can watch.
all right. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah. Thank you, man.
Yeah, thank you, man.
So
All
thank
right.
you,
Bye.
So
everyone.
thank you, everyone.